All right, all right. Hey, welcome everyone. This is Rashid Hill, and this is the Triple Effect. This is an online Zoom broadcast as well as podcast, and it is an honor to be in the presence of an amazing, amazing individual. Our special guest will be coming on in just a few seconds, but since it's the inaugural, this is the premiere, this is the first in the beginning of a series of powerful presentations and interviews for this amazing podcast called The Triple Effect. And I would love to give you some background just so you understand and give it some context of what you can expect. The Triple Effect is about exploring our capabilities and understanding the laws of the universe through emotional intelligence. When your thoughts are pure and your direction is true, your mind believes in the power of potential. It starts as a thought and evolves into practical knowledge. When a single drop of knowledge comes in contact with a conscious host, it can create ripples in your world, having global impact on human performance. We ask the question, can we go beyond our limits, our capabilities? I would love for you to join the conversation and explore the triple effect. What we do, say, and feel creates and emanates our powerful energy. We have no limits. Like I said, I'm Rashid Hill, and I'll be your host for tonight. I'm a strategic intervention specialist, personal development coach with a main focus in EQ, or emotional intelligence, a published author of the book 8 Ways to Be 10 Times Better, and a contributing writer for the Life by Design Entrepreneur magazine here in San Diego. I'm the founder of L3 Coaching Solutions and the creator of the Hero Coaching Model. High excellence results option is the only option. I help people unlock their true potential in order to pursue their desired lifestyle. The show tonight is the first of a series, and we're going to be talking about or basing it on the premise of the law of balance and polarity. Our guest, you're in for a real treat. So let me just put this in perspective, because see, you might not understand why I'm so caught up in the moment, why I'm sitting here trying to make sure I do him justice, which my words probably will not, but his words will definitely give you some insight to something that is so powerful, that is so great, and it's such an impact on the community. And I had to have it for my first guest on this inaugural, this premiere show, The Triple Effect. You know this is our premiere show, and I wanted to kick it off right. I knew, without a shadow of a doubt, this gentleman would be exciting to talk to and learn from. Tonight, on the premiere show of The Triple Effect, I want to welcome Mr. Mike Love. Now, before I actually let him do his part, then I want to give you just a quick synopsis, just to kick it off, to show you why he's qualified to be in the ranks of the greatest that will be. Mr. Love is the founder and president of We Will Rise, a community empowerment organization to elevate the Black community. Associate professor of counseling at Riverside City College in Riverside, California. Before I not do it justice, I would like to introduce, I would like for Mr. Love to come on and let us know more about who is Mr. Love and why he is best qualified to be my first guest. Mr. Love, welcome.
Well, thank you very much, Rashid. I am extremely thankful and excited to not only be on with you, but be on as your inaugural guest. So I definitely want to thank you for that opportunity. Like you gave a little bit about myself, my name is Michael Love. I'm associates, professor of counseling, Riverside City College here in Riverside, California. I've currently been there for a year and a half. I've been in education as my profession for the last 7 years. I'm also the co-founder and president of We Will Rise, which is an organization in San Diego, California, which is built towards the empowerment of Black men through community service and action projects, as well as inclusive community dialogue. So the goal is wanting to see Black men in a more positive light. And the only way that we feel that we're able to do that is to first go out and be that change that we want to see in ourselves. And hopefully that will change the perceptions that people have of Black men and the perceptions that we have of ourselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, I appreciate that, because that's one of the main reasons that, I really wanted to create a platform to where we could have community leaders to come out and help to promote what they're doing in the community. And so nationwide, we can see that there is something happening in one corner of the globe or one corner of the nation that can impact other corners. And the way to reach people, social media is incredible to help us reach out and do that. No matter where we're at in the organization, somebody out there needs to hear your voice. And you've impacted me. And just so our audience knows how I got introduced to your organization, it's very interesting. As I was doing some social media, some Facebook and Instagram and things like this, I was introduced to this particular organization because I'm just surfing on the web. I hit Facebook and I come across, some brothers that got together, and I'm like, hey, these brothers look like me. And I'm new to San Diego, and I'm kind of like, hey, you know what? What do I do in order to get to know people, network? How can I have an impact? Because individually, like I said, as a strategic intervention coach and personal development, strategist, consultant, whatever you want to call it, then I feel like, hey, you know what? What can I do to make an impact? How can I develop higher potential and performance in people? And when I don't really know anybody here. And so if I'm going to go out there and reach out, I might as well reach out to a group that looks like me and that gives me that inspiration to say, you know what, maybe they're doing something that I need to be part of. And so, yeah, I reached out to Mr. Love on Facebook group and I said, hey, where you meeting? What's going on? Where's that located? I'm new to the area. I don't know. But all I know is when I showed up, I was like, wow, you know what? I'm listening. I'm soaking it up. And I'm learning from everybody in the room. And just real powerful. And I think that was maybe, I don't know, a year. What was it? A couple of years ago, I think.
Mm-hmm. We just celebrated our 2nd anniversary. So, yeah, been 2 years.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. And we really got quality people there. So if anybody, wants to know more about what Mr. Love is doing with We Will Rise and how the energy and the organization is growing, you can always search King's Collective. Is that right? King's Collective?
Yes, sir.
On Facebook group. And that'll give you kind of a general, you'll see some of the pictures. You see, when we get together, we always take that group photo. And so you can definitely be introduced to kind of our group and what we do. And if you have any questions for Mr. Love, you can always reach out to him. And later on, I'll make sure I put out his Facebook group information. So you can always reach out to him. And if he wants to leave an email address or anything, any other contact information, you have an opportunity to do that before we go. So I appreciate that we have some guests here. If you have any questions, you can throw them in the chat, and we'll definitely address that in our question and answer section. So a little bit more about Mr. Love. Mike Love, he is the co-founder of We Will Rise, an organization based in San Diego, California, like he said, geared towards the empowerment of Black men through impactful community dialogue and community action projects. He is also the associate professor of counseling at Riverside City College in Riverside, California. Michael keeps active all over Southern California, not only as the president of We Will Rise, but also as a contributing member and instrumental member of the long-time setup that's been impacting young men for many, many years. I think that's over 10 years, right? Yeah, I mean, amazing. The Young Men's Leadership Conference held at Mount Miguel School annually is a very, very powerful event. I had an opportunity to be part of that, and I mean, wow. And we'll get into our future guest that's been spearheading that from day one, and you'll love that as well. Very special guest as well. And he also has taken taken his Each One Teach One tie donation drive to conferences and schools all over Southern California, where he teaches students the importance of professionalism and how to tie a necktie. Think how powerful that is. I had the opportunity to actually speak with one of the kids and the kid's mother. And the story that was told to me was so powerful, so powerful. It was years after. The kid was just so happy to get a tie. But guess what happened? Some years later, he had an opportunity to have an interview, and he wore that special tie. If he didn't know, his mother couldn't help him with it. His mother was looking for a young man that could help her son so he could tie that tie. So when he was able to present himself in front of that employer or potential employer, he was so proud. And instantly, his confidence was lifted because somebody showed interest in him, and that was Mr. Mike Love. So a graduate of San Diego State University with a bachelor's in political science and a master's degree in education, Michael plans to pursue a doctorate in education with aspirations of college administration. This is my man, Mike Love. It is a pleasure, man. It is an absolute
much appreciated.
And I'm so overwhelmed. But without me going into all the wonderful things I can say about you, I want the guests to know more about the intelligent conversation that we're about to have. This is about intelligent conversation. You know, I listen to a lot of Black men that are entrepreneurs, that are social media, using social media as a platform to get the word out, to show that we can talk about more than sports. We can talk about more than rapping. We can talk about more than, going to the club, whatever. We have many intelligent Black men that can bring the accolades and bring the background that you have and represent a community and a nation in the best way. And today, we want to give that to our people and our listeners. So here's a question I want to ask you. And I got a few questions. And I would love for you to, as we go through these questions, it's not like the presidential debate or anything. I'm not I'm not going to be hitting you up like that. But I would love for you to give the feel or give the theme of a few things like emotional health. What is emotional health? How does that factor into some of the counseling that you do? The power of We Will Rise and the mission of We Will Rise. I would definitely want the listeners to know more about that. And how does mentorship play in your life, as well as how important is it? Because to me, it's a secret weapon. And so I say, maybe you can address how mentorship is a secret weapon for young adults out there, young Black men out there, that's looking to get ahead in life as well. So these are some of the themes that I would love for you to talk about, but I want to hit you with a few questions. And so our listeners will be thrilled as I am. So education.
All right, let me know.
So education is the field of interest. What is the attraction of education, or what is your mission of education?
Well, what I do believe is that we are all blessed with something unique, a talent that is uniquely ours. And I think a goal of being human is realizing what that talent is and then finding a way to share that with the world. So for me specifically, education was what I found early on that I was good at. I love to learn. I love to read. And being in school early, you start getting the selected for certain awards, and you want to get that positive reinforcement. I realized pretty early, like, hey, I'm pretty good at this. I want more of it. That fed into me wanting to read more, wanting to learn more. Growing up, I knew that college was always in my field. I knew it was the next step. I just didn't know what would come after that. So getting into college, I was immersed in literature that I hadn't read before. I was around other individuals who were giving me different points of perspectives that I hadn't received before. So it really gave me the opportunity to see differently, to be different. And I truly believe that is what motivated me to want to continue that. So the opportunity that I have as an assistant professor of counseling at Riverside City College gives me the ability not only to do academic counseling, but I'm also able to teach. And I truly love being in the classroom. It's a feeling that I haven't really found anywhere else, as far as truly being able to help students and people in general. So to me, education is the lifeblood. Is the importance of it. It never goes away. I think that's something that I call myself a lifelong student, and it doesn't necessarily mean I'm learning in the classroom necessarily, but learning as I go along in life. So that's why I think education is so important to me.
No, that's absolutely powerful. I heard a term a long time ago, I went through a Tony Robbins coaching program in 2012. And throughout that program, there was a statement. My coach gave me a book. And while I was reading through that, and it was just really amazing, it was about 12 pillars. And in there, one of the pillars was be a lifelong learner. And like you said, being a lifelong student. A lot of people don't really understand the power that holds. Is lifelong, meaning you never learn all you can learn. You will never be, they talk about if you're the smartest person in the room, find another room.
Definitely.
Continue to grow, continue to develop. And this is powerful. I love that. So based on that, I know you talked about, in your bio, a little bit about going for your PhD, which is definitely powerful. As a goal, what is a career goal for you, and what's a personal goal for you?
Career goal, well, if I'm looking career specific, I've just completed, a year and a half at my current position here in Riverside City College. The tenure is a 4-year track. So the goal is to get tenure. Absolutely. After that, the next step would be to pursue a doctoral program. I've always had a dream of having Dr. Love as my moniker. For personal and professional reasons. I think professionally, when I'm looking at what I would like to do as a professional, and I look at the trajectory of what I would like my career to be, if I see something that's at the top and I'm looking and focus on it, and it's like, well, why not go for the top? Why not go for it? I was blessed to obtain my bachelor's and my master's degree from San Diego State University, which was an amazing campus. So to me, being young, an educator in the profession, I feel like there's nothing stopping me. So that is a goal. I'm going to start applying for doctoral programs in the near future and get that started. Personally, would definitely be to travel. As I'm looking at my perspective and the perspective of my own life being pretty much in Southern California my entire life, I've been around individuals who have different worldly perspectives. And that's always something that I felt was something that I wanted to have for my own, because I know that the perspectives outside of California, outside of the United States matter. And there would be things that I'd be able to add on to my own person and learn and grow from. So a personal goal for mine would be to start doing some traveling. And that's, personal enjoyment, but also to learn and grow a little bit more as a professional in what I'm doing. So
based on traveling, since traveling is a good question, I won't ask you if you have a passport. Just saying.
It's in the works. It is in the works. I can't be the only one who doesn't have one, so I'm working on that.
That helps. So with that, what real quick, what's maybe give me 3 of your top locations that you would love to travel to?
Okay, so the first one will be Africa, and I know Africa is like 53, 54 countries. I would like to do a lot of traveling in Africa. When I was at San Diego State, I had a professor, Dr. Akebulon, who ran an alternative spring break in Africa where they would choose a different country every year and then do community service projects in that specific country. Wow. So if I had to pick a specific country, it'd probably be Nigeria. That's the one I'm most knowledgeable about. But that would be number one. I feel France will be a second one. I've always loved the French language and learning a little bit about the culture. I've always thought it'd be something that I'd be interested in. And then Australia. Okay. Australia would be another a place that I would feel I would enjoy it. And then I would learn a little bit more about not only the Western Hemisphere, but all over the world as well.
Great. No, that's powerful. Those are some great places. And I aspire to do that as well. I was in the military for about 10 years, and even as a contractor, I traveled a lot. And so definitely gives you a very broad perspective on life, and it helps you to appreciate, kind of what you have, and it helps you be more humble, and definitely helps to show a lot of compassion for areas and people and humanity as a whole. And I think more Americans really would benefit from traveling, outside the U.S. And some of the locations that you spoke of definitely give you a broader perspective. So it's really, really powerful.
Absolutely.
So I guess I would like to know, and I'm sure our audience would like to know, as a associate professor, counselor, community leader, I know you're an avid reader and definitely have a strong appreciation for literacy. Have you published articles or writings for maybe school or outside of that, any organizations, or do you have plans to do that?
Absolutely have plans to. One of my personal goals would be to publish a book of poems that I've been working on pretty much since high school. So that's something I'm passionate about and wanting to get out into there as well. When I got into my master's program, there was research that I was doing that I wanted to continue into a doctoral program, which was centered around African-American education and some of the achievement gaps. So yes, as I continue to delve deep into that, that's definitely something I want to beginning to write more in and then do some work in publishing. Absolutely.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Because I know I would look forward to reading your writings. Definitely something that I think, anybody listening would appreciate and look forward to as well. So let's see here more about Mike Love. What are 3 principles you believe in? 3 principles that you believe are your core principles, ideas that you live by, not really a genre or a specific, encapsulation or topic, but just 3 ideas that you believe are like, hey, these are my core principles. These are my core ideals. These are things that I live by.
Passion, integrity, and creativity.
Nice.
I think me as a person, if you're around me for 3 minutes or 3 hours, it's not hard at all to see the things that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
I feel that like I said, everybody has something genuine about them, a gift, and the goal is to figure out a way to share it. I'm very passionate about what I love to do, and that's truly helping people. Nice. Integrity being the second one. I feel that no matter who you are as a person, your integrity is something that nobody can take from you. So as I've gotten older, I've realized that, I've heard the adage that not everybody has grown up the same, or not everybody was raised the same way. And it shows. Just looking in the ways that society turns us and twists us against each other, it shows. It shows how not honest or dishonest or disingenuous some individuals are.
Wow.
I never want to be looked at as that type of person. I definitely be the first one to tell you I'm not perfect, but the integrity that I have and what I believe in is something that's extremely important to me.
Nice.
And creativity being the last one. I feel like that's something that the younger generation, I call myself a millennial, I feel like that's something that we have in abundance. As the world is starting to change, there's so many things that are happening and ways to be successful. And I think it's our duty, our job to figure out what that is and to make it work for us. So creativity is something that I feel it's a part of who I am as a person.
No, that's powerful. Interesting about creativity. I was doing some reading and I come across these universal laws, and the law of elevation, the law of attraction, the law of and creativity is actually one of them. It's very interesting. And when I was writing a few years back and researching, I came across this concept, and the only way I could understand it was to develop kind of a new concept that was the product of 2 or 3, and that was genius quotient. And in genius quotient, the actual outcome, the driver about the outcome is creativity and innovation. So that is very powerful in itself, because we as beings, in order for us to develop and evolve, we had to be more creative. And so that was very powerful. I like that you talked about that. And at the beginning, when I talked a little bit about kind of one of the bases of this particular podcast and broadcast and online show, the triple effect, the law of balance and polarity takes creativity to evolve. and get us in balance. And so that's something that I'm going to talk a little bit more about, as the show goes on. But tonight it's about Mike Love. So, no, I appreciate that, man. Definitely passion, integrity, and creativity. Those are definitely three principles that we all need to embody as well. So without going too far off, I do want to capture more about We Will Rise, the organization. Let's talk about that nonprofit itself. Your vision, your mission. I know you have a partner with this, and without spilling the beans, we're going to make sure that we bring him in, and we'll have him for a following broadcast. But definitely, can you give me and our audience some perspective on your vision and mission with We Will Rise?
Absolutely. Well, as you said, I can't talk about We Will Rise without bringing up my co-founder and then also my mentor, who's our advisor. This wouldn't have been possible without my advisor, and I know that we'll speak with him a little later. But just him being a mentor to me and seeing the positive work that he's put forth in the 15, 16 years that I've been around him, it just pushes me. It made me want to do something to replicate that.
Mm-hmm.
And my co-founder, best friend for the last 20 some odd years. So the idea with We Will Rise, I invited him to one of my class sessions where I created a fishbowl conversation with the men and the women in my classroom. And the conversation was geared around masculinity in the 21st century. And then the next class session, we flipped it. So it was what did it mean to be a female in the 21st century? From those conversations, my best friend and I, who were roommates at the time, we realized that we talked about life a lot.
Yeah.
And it is beyond the surface of what men normally talk about. If it's not women or sports or music or any type of entertainment, that's normally where most of the conversations stop. But we realized that we were deeper than that.
Yeah.
As we get into our 30s and we realize like, hey, life is a lot more than just the surface topics that we speak about. We want to really do a little bit more with that. And we realized that specifically with Black men who, for the most part, are not given an avenue to have those open conversations about life, where they're not feeling judged, where they're not feeling they're being stereotyped, or that the information that they put out is going to be used against them. That was one of the driving factors on, hey, let's create a space where we can come together and have some real life conversations.
No, that's powerful. That's powerful. And, I know it sounds, a little off-putting to not name names. And so what I'll do is probably towards the end, we'll go ahead and let people know who we're talking about. Because as we broadcast, I'm sure somebody's going to be like, who's he talking about? Who's he talking about? So
if you know me, then you know them.
Exactly. So that's cool. And definitely, like I said, we're gonna continue this conversation for times to come. So absolutely makes sense. So let's see. Definitely, We Will Rise. Powerful vision, powerful mission for the community, and definitely help me to understand more about what's going on in the local community, as well as how we as Black men can help to empower our community from the youth to the adults within ourselves as well to grow. So with that,
absolutely. And what I was just going to say to that, to be very specific to anyone who is any type of knowledgeable about San Diego, we were very specific in where we were at. I mean, we all grew up in Southeast San Diego, where if anyone knows anything about San Diego, most of what's below the 8 doesn't get a whole lot of positive media coverage. And growing up in that area, I have a lot of friends who aren't around anymore, whether that's gang violence, whether that's to jail, whether that's to drugs or XYZ. There's a lot of negativity there.
Wow.
But there's a lot of positivity as well. And the positivity doesn't get the play or the acknowledgement that the negativity does.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the driving factors. Okay, well, we're in a space where most people don't expect anything positive from us, but there's a whole lot of positive energy and creative energy and just talented brothers in the area.
Yeah.
So let's do something where we can showcase that. And I think that's one of the driving factors of what we're trying to do with We Will Rise.
Oh, that's powerful. That's powerful. And I totally agree. You know, being a part of that is definitely something that I see happening and helping to inspire me to do more and do better. So with that, a couple more questions. One, where do you see We Will Rise in 10 years from now? If you close your eyes and you visualize yourself there, happening, doing it, not, thinking about it, not planning it out, but I'm there. Where is We Will Rise in 10 years?
Well, that's an amazing question. I want the stars. One of the goals that my co-founder, my partner, we started out with, well, what would it look like if we had an actual center? Something along the lines of maybe like the YMCA, but specific for Black men, where we'd be able to have community dialogue, we'd be able to have action-oriented community projects, we'd be able to have just services, because sometimes just services that you need from day to day is really hard to come by because we're not built to ask for help.
Yeah.
So I think that would be an amazing idea is what would that look like to have a center? So I think I'm looking at it in two different ways. I can see what I'm doing now or what it would be. One idea would be to have this be a full-time position.
Okay.
We would be able to take what we're doing, We Will Rise, and utilize that not just in Southern California and not just in California, but all over the United States, because I know that there are pockets and communities of Black men who would love doing what we're doing.
That's great.
That's one avenue. That would be shooting for the star.
No, and I see that happening.
And 10 years from now, we were still holding our community-based meetings and the membership just continued to grow. I'd be perfectly happy with that. It's not necessarily the numbers, but I know that we're making an impact with who shows up. I just think that we have the ability to reach more men. So moving forward, if we grew our membership by 100 men, I'd be happy. If moving forward, we were able to take this to all 50 states, I'd be ecstatic.
Nice. No, I totally agree. And I appreciate that. It helps to give us a visual on what we're shooting for. And definitely hope the people that's listening appreciate this as well. I have one last question, and we got about 10 minutes left on this particular cast. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes on this question.
Okay.
And let's see. Well, we got about a little bit less than 10 minutes. We got about 5 minutes to go through this question, and then in 5 minutes I'm gonna close it out.
Okay.
All right, cool. Final question. If you were preparing for a long-awaited business meeting with a billionaire, yes, a billionaire, what kind and color tie would you wear, and what is the one question you would be sure to ask them?
Okay. So, meeting with a billionaire. All right. So I'm not going to lie. When I'm looking at color combinations for suits and ties, there are like two of them that jump out at me. Blue suit, brown belt, brown shoes. The blue and brown are just amazing to me. And then a gray suit with a lavender shirt like I have on right now, brown belt, brown shoes, perfect.
Nice.
Perfect. Either one. And then your second question was, what would be one question that I would make sure to ask them?
Yes.
What I feel that question would be was when you were beginning and you were getting the no's a lot. Any person that starts out in a business gets the no's, especially an entrepreneur starting out brand new. To me, grit is something important, and I define that as what is the motivating factor deep inside you that keeps you pushing when you don't get the answers that you want. The question that I would ask that billionaire would be, what was grit for you? You were starting out early in your career, and you were getting the no's that hurt. I mean, we're all human, so I know that they hurt. What was the motivating factor for you that kept you pushing, kept you getting up early mornings, kept you staying up late nights? What was it for you?
Wow.
And I feel that just the fact of me asking that question, I feel that the person that I asked, that billionaire, they would understand something different. They will understand that I put in some of those hard hours and got a lot of those no's. And even if I didn't get what I was going to the meeting for, I got the no's before. So I know what that is, but it's not going to stop me from pushing to get what I truly want in life.
Yeah. Wow. Grit. Yeah, man. Wow. You know, in my Toastmasters class, our meeting, and on Wednesdays, one gentleman, he was a retired teacher, Stan. He actually read a book about it, and he talked about grit. So that's powerful. It's powerful. Hadn't heard that answer, you know, in capacities that I've heard people talk about. Speaking to billionaires, that's cool. That's cool. That's good stuff. So, Mike, I appreciate you, man. Definitely look forward to our second session with your partner, and I'm sure we'll bring in maybe your mentor, and so we can get a well-rounded conversation about We Will Rise.
Absolutely.
And so definitely the people out there listening and enjoying this conversation will know that your mentor is Mr. Michael Love. I know it sounds very interesting that they both have the same name, but I digress because I could kind of keep going on with that. So we got two Dr. Loves. But anyway, you have and your co-founder and best friend of many years that helped to create this amazing vehicle for us Black men in the community and eventually around the nation that makes so much impact for us is Mr. Gary Harris, and we'll have him on next week as well. And so for me to close this out, I want to say thank you and definitely appreciate everything you do and appreciate you coming on and helping me kick off the Triple Effect, the online show that is for intelligent conversation. There is no cap on your capacity. Remove the limiting beliefs from your learning when your thoughts are pure and your direction is true in the power of potential. It starts as a thought and evolves into acquired knowledge. Then we explore the possibilities of that knowledge being transferable to practical applications, thus the triple effect from our words and actions. This show is all about energy, polarity, and high frequencies in our life. What we do, say, and feel govern our lives of the seen and the unseen. The laws that we will discuss are offered to raise your level of awareness of specific laws and how they are present and working all around us all the time. The point of equilibrium is the balance we seek in all things. That's my time for tonight. With our special guest, Mr. Mike Love, we wish you well in all your endeavors, your goals, and everything that you aspire to do to impact us that are riding along with you. I truly enjoyed it, and I look forward to having you join me on the next episode of The Triple Effect, which is next Friday. Will be part 2 of the law of balance and how to develop our self-awareness and understand the power of polarity to accomplish more out of life. You can find me on Instagram at 10XU or Rashid Z619. You obviously can find me on Facebook. You can look up the group Next Level Minds or Change the Game. I'm Rashid Hill. It has been a pleasure. And if you don't remember anything else, take this home with you. Don't chase your dreams, create your dreams. I'm Rashid Hill, and it's been a pleasure, and we out.